But it is more important to know what money you are spending and have spent and could spend for your business. So the first part is you've got to know how this is. The output of this part of it is we're going to have a categorized list of everything that we've done. So this is part of that system, right? So part two of this system is what have I spent, and we need to track it. So why track this stuff? If you expense everything you can, you will pay less in tax because you'll be showing that you've made less profit. You must know the true cost of delivery of your product or service. You must know that. And there's loads of ways that you can work that out. Again, you can punch this sort of stuff into AI, help me figure it out, ask me some questions. But if you don't know exactly how much it costs you, it's going to be really hard to make a profit. You get to make informed pricing decisions. Now, pricing is a dark art, right? And pricing, I'm still learning about pricing. I'm still figuring all this sort of bit out. But if you know how much money goes out of the business, it helps you make more educated decisions about this. You know the true profitability of your business, and you can predict the future spending and control your cash flow. Knowing the numbers is a superpower. People don't talk about it enough. Quite often, people will just palm this off to a bookkeeper or an accountant and think it will be solved. It won't be. You need to know this. You need to understand this. You'll also then be more comfortable paying an accountant because you understand what work they do. But it just gives you way more understanding of your own business. So we've talked about having separate systems for your personal and for your business. That means bank accounts too. You must have separate accounts and separate systems. Keep everything separated. Keep everything separated. And I'll talk about Anna Money in a second. But there are loads of different bank accounts you can use. And there's some really good free ones too. This is the big part of this. You must capture every single expense that happens. How to track this stuff? There's many ways you can do this, right? The most basic version is you can just use a spreadsheet. Right? If Excel is your friend, I use Excel on a regular basis. Sometimes I use Excel for fun, but don't tell anyone. Excel and spreadsheets, Google Sheets, whatever you want to use, is fantastic just to keep a record of all of the stuff that's going on. Set up a dedicated bank account to this. There are tons of bank accounts available. I'll talk about some in a sec. Spend on one card. One card. Now, again, simplicity is the way that you'll set yourself free with all this stuff. If you have 8 different business cards, you're not going to know what you spent what on. And then you're going to have to log into 8 different platforms to download everything and figure it all out. Just choose one. Make your life simple. You're a human being. You're built to do the creative bit. You're built to go out and do the art. You're built to go out and deliver to people. You're out to just go and make the world better. Make your system so simple that you don't have to spend all your time doing admin. That's my goal. If I can spend as few moments of my time looking at spreadsheets, looking at finances, looking at all this, and know that I'm doing it well, that's a game changer. That's what will set you free. So choose one card. Don't overcomplicate it. You can tell I'm passionate about this bit, can't you? I've had numerous conversations with people trying to do the opposite. Use the available tools that are available to you. Simplicity is key. Ladies and gentlemen, are you ready to talk profit? Are you ready to talk profit? This is the best bit. Now, the profit, this is the bit we've all been waiting for. It's the most important part. If you're not making profit as a business, you're either a charity or you have a very expensive hobby. And I'm sure all of us would like to be in an abundance of cash. That would make life a little bit better, wouldn't it? So the profit part here, the aim is that we know roughly how much profit we're making. We must have sight of this. Now, I've already spoken about knowing what money is going to be coming in and what money is going out. And then pretty easily, we can work out the difference. That's the profit that we're left with. So you want to know how profitable you are at any one moment. And then the output of this is that we're going to figure out what our tax bill is likely to be at the end of the year. Now, I know this seems like a really obvious question, but most people don't do it. How often should you plan for your tax bill? When should you be thinking about it? Should know the answer to this. All the time, yes. Every time money comes in, absolutely. If you wait until the end of the tax year to figure out how much tax you owe, it's going to be really painful. So part of what I'm going to be talking about now is how do we make sure we've got enough put aside? So turnover is for vanity, profit is for sanity. Profit is the breathing room that allows us to grow. You pay tax on your profit, not on your sale. So we've got the money that comes in, we've got the money that goes out. The bit you're left with in the middle is the profit. That's the part that you pay tax on. And I'm going to talk about the tax rates momentarily. I know some of you are dying to get to it. That's the most important part. So you pay that money to the tax man. The rest you get to keep. It is absolutely lovely. That's the bit we like the most. Water break, ladies and gentlemen. Please take a sip of water. I'm going to mute so you don't hear me. Look at us, healthy queens. Right. So if you can expense more and reduce the profit, you will pay less tax. Now, I must tax the water. Yeah, we could. What I'm getting at here is I'm not saying this in a dodgy way. I'm saying this in a find out the money you're spending anyway and make sure you're expensing it within legal reason. Right? Because there's a whole bunch of stuff you can expense. A lot of business owners don't quite do the whole thing. Sometimes it's over cumbersome, sometimes it's too hard. Don't miss any of it. Put as much of it in as you possibly can. Because if you're expensing absolutely everything you can do, you're paying the least amount of tax you can do. And that's a good thing because it means that you have more profit or more money to use. So we've got the money that goes out. We've then got the profit that's left. We've got the tax, right? So what we want to do is up the amount of the expenses within reason, which will reduce the amount of profit we've made, which will then reduce the amount of tax that we have. So this is how I want you to look at that, right? So you want to boost the money going out with money that you will spend anyway. So sometimes people will do this. They'll get to the end of the tax year and they'll go, oh, you know what? I'm just going to buy that laptop because I need to get a laptop anyway. It makes sense for me to do it now because it means that I won't get hit with much of a tax bill. That's absolutely fine. That is called tax planning, ladies and gentlemen. So I just want you to think about this really, really legitimately, really obviously. What else do I need to be putting through the business because it's stuff I'm buying anyway? It's stuff I'm spending money on anyway. It's that bit, that difference can be life-changing. It can absolutely be life-changing. You want to make sure we do that. And again, we're sending this all to you. So you actually get yourself a little bonus. If you can do that, you can unlock that.